You ever stop and think, why do humans chase a shiny yellow metal like it's the meaning of life? Like gold is some magic that fills emptiness inside? Well, buckle up, because the story you're about to hear might just change how you see money, value, and greed forever. Origin, stardust, rivers, and first coins. Imagine this. Deep in space, long before Earth existed, massive stars explode. Huge clouds of dust and gas. In that cosmic fire, heavy metals are born, gold among them. After millions of years, bits of that gold drift through space. Some eventually fall to Earth. Now fast forward billions of years. Wind, rain, rivers, they carve mountains, they wear away rock. They reveal glittering flakes of gold inside mountains and riverbeds. Somewhere, someone picks up a strange rock. It's heavy, dense, but weirdly soft, and glowing under sunlight. It doesn't rust. It doesn't corrode. It stays shiny no matter what. Humans look at it, and their minds catch fire. Suddenly, this rock isn't just a rock, that it's special, precious, timeless. Ancient people don't just wear it. They shape it, craft necklaces, bracelets, ornaments. They build statues and treasures for their rulers and gods. Shiny bracelets, golden masks, sacred offerings, because gold had one trump card. Magic, because gold doesn't decay. It lasts forever. So what if, instead of using cattle, grains, or salt as money, we use this heavy shiny metal at first? This idea seems odd. Cows feed you. Salt seasons your food. Grain grows into bread. Gold does nothing. But it lasts. Still, people trade gold. They exchange it for food, cloth, land, services. And this trade works because people believe it works. They trust gold's value. This belief spreads. Gold becomes currency. Coins minted. Standard weights. Standard value. Now you don't barter cattle for grain. You barter gold coins for goods. You barter promise and trust. And suddenly, human trade becomes global. Empires rise around gold. Kings fund wars, build cathedrals, expand borders. Because gold made it all possible. Empires used gold to stamp power. Conquerors demanded tribute, taxes, offerings, all in gold. Because gold doesn't rot. It doesn't spoil. It can shine forever in vaults. Human history begins to glow gold. ACT2, escalation, coins, colonies, conquest, and paper money. As centuries pass, humans get greedier, desperate, more hungry. Gold is rare. Not enough for everyone's dreams. So people hunt more. They dig mines. They plunder lands. They exploit labor. Because gold means power, means control. Some empires collapse under their own greed. Some crumble. Others thrive. Because with gold comes temptation. Behind armies, temples, riches, lies. Then came the big twist. Gold is heavy. Hard to carry in large volume. Hard to transport, to store, to trade across oceans. What if, instead of lugging heavy gold bars, people carry paper? Paper that says, this represents gold held somewhere safe. One piece of paper equals some gold in a vault. Brilliant. Banks appear. Vaults underground. Gold. Bank issues a piece of paper, a receipt. You trade that receipt. It works just like money. Suddenly, money becomes light, divisible, easy to carry. No need to drag bars across deserts or seas. Just carry paper. The psychology shifts. Value is no longer physical. It becomes collective belief. A promise that if you believe that paper equals gold, and I believe that, we can trade. I give you paper. You give me bread. We both trust paper has value. This mental leap was giant. From cows and salt, to shiny metal, to paper. As trade networks grow, empires expand, crossroads of commerce emerge. Paper money becomes default currency. But there's a catch. Paper has no heartbeat. Its value depends on trust, on promises, on stability. If someone doubts the bank, or the vault, or the government, the paper can lose value. That creates a fragile system. Because it depends on belief, on faith, on reputation. Meanwhile, gold still sits in vaults. Dark, silent, but solid. Gold doesn't care about trust. It doesn't listen to rumors. It stays real. So every time there's a war, or a crash, or inflation, people look back to gold. They scramble to vaults. They hedge their bets. They buy bars, coins, jewelry, because gold becomes a safe harbor, a refuge when paper money shakes. They see paper money fade. governments fall, economies collapse. But gold shines through. Human greed, human fear, both drive this. Greed to earn, fear to lose everything. And through centuries, gold remains. ACT3, resolution, fiat money, crisis, and the eternal lure of gold. By the early 1900s, many countries had built complex economies around paper money. Banks, central banks, trust frameworks, all real. In the United States and elsewhere, the paper note became king. That was the gold standard. A system where paper stood for gold. But war, debt, economic booms all changed that. Running an empire, funding armies, paying debts needed flexibility. You couldn't mint enough gold coins. You couldn't dig enough gold. So many governments started loosening the link. Then, crisis hit. Depressions, bank runs, banks collapsing, people rushing to withdraw gold, the vaults drained, trust vanished. That's when the big decision was made. Money would no longer be backed by gold. It would be backed by nothing tangible, only by belief. That moment changed everything. Now paper money, fiat money, ruled. It had value because people believed it had value. Because governments said so, suddenly, money became a story. A shared collective fiction. You worked for dollars, you saved dollars. You planned futures based on dollars. But under that fiction lay a fragile truth. If faith erodes, the paper crumbles. Now, decades later, we live on those promises. Global economies, stock markets, currencies, all built on invisible foundations. And still, when fear hits, when inflation rises, people run to gold. They buy jewelry, bars, coins. They stash gold in vaults, under mattresses, in secret places, because gold doesn't need promises. It just exists. And here's the irony. Human faith created paper money, but human fear pushes us back to gold. We abandoned heavy metal for convenience. We embraced abstraction for trust. We built global trade on illusions. And yet, when reality shakes, we cling to the old, the real, the solid, the shiny. Even today, people pay thousands for tiny bits of gold because deep inside, we still believe gold equals safety. Final reflection, what money really means. So ask yourself, is gold valuable because of what it is, or because of what we believe it is? Maybe gold isn't magical. Maybe it's just heavy metal. But our collective belief turned it into magic, into power, into wealth. Because value, real value, is human-made. It lives in our minds. It thrives on trust. It collapses with doubt. Paper money, crypto, digital wallets, all rely on the same fragile thing, belief. Money is just a story we tell each other, a shared hallucination. And when that story cracks, people panic. They fight wars. They riot. They run for safety. What does it mean when we run to gold? It means we trust metal more than promises. It means we fear the invisible. It means we long for something real. Next time you hold a note in your hand, pause. Ask yourself, doesn't it feel weird, trusting paper more than substance? Maybe value doesn't live in numbers on screens. Maybe it lives in something you can hold. Something that outlives governments, economies, promises. Gold doesn't speak. It doesn't judge. It just is. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it will always outshine our illusions. If this twisted journey through gold, trust, and greed shook something in you, hit thumbs up. Comment below, what surprised you most about money's history? Subscribe to join more deep dives into the weird side of history, economics, and human belief. Because next time, we dig into something even darker. What happens when money becomes digital, virtual, and entirely imaginary?